where legends breathe again. Eldmyth. The vast, sun-drenched expanse of the Aegean Sea stretches to the horizon, a living, breathing entity of shimmering azure and cobalt. Waves, like molten glass, rise and fall in a rhythm as ancient as time itself, their crests catching the sunlight in a million brilliant sparks. This is not merely water. It is the domain of a god, a kingdom of immense power and profound mystery. Beneath the placid surface lies a world of crushing depths, submerged mountain ranges, and secrets swallowed by the abyss. The very air tastes of salt and the intangible essence of myth. For millennia, humanity has looked upon this sea with a mixture of awe and terror, knowing it as the source of life and the bringer of death. It is a force that gives passage to ships and then, in a fit of divine wrath, consigns them to the deep. And at the heart of this elemental chaos and order reigns a figure of terrifying majesty: Poseidon, the earth shaker, the lord of horses, the god of the seas. His name, whispered on the wind and shouted into the storm, evokes the raw, untamed power of the ocean itself. Who is this sovereign of the deep? Is he the benevolent protector of sailors, the grim architect of tempests, or the brooding monarch of a sunken palace glittering with coral and gold? To understand him is to plunge into the heart of the Mediterranean's greatest legends, to ride the waves of story that have crashed upon the shores of human consciousness for 3,000 years. To trace the lineage of Poseidon is to journey back to the very dawn of Greek divinity, to a time of primordial titans and cosmic upheaval. He was born of the titans Cronus and Rhea, a brother to the mighty Zeus and the stern Hades. In the most ancient of tales, the fear of prophecy hung heavy over his infancy. His father, Cronus, having learned that one of his children would overthrow him, swallowed each newborn whole. Poseidon, like his siblings, was consumed, trapped within the dark, churning belly of his titan father. It was only through the cunning of Rhea and the strength of Zeus, once he came of age, that this divine generation was freed. The ensuing war, the Titanomachy, shook the foundations of the cosmos. The young gods battled the old, clashing on the plains of Thessaly, their conflict so colossal it rearranged the very stars. Poseidon's role in this cosmic struggle was pivotal. His raw, untamed power was a weapon of unimaginable force. When the war was won and the world was divided by lot, the brothers drew straws for their domains. Zeus won the sky, Hades the shadowy underworld, and Poseidon the sea. Yet his authority was not limited to the waves. He was also given mastery over the earth itself, earning his fearsome epithet, the Earth Shaker. With a strike of his trident, he could summon earthquakes, split the land asunder, and cause fresh water springs to erupt from the deepest rock. This dual dominion, over the fluid, chaotic sea and the solid, unyielding earth, reveals the fundamental duality of his nature: a creator and a destroyer, a giver of life and a bringer of cataclysm. The worship of Poseidon was as vast and deep as his domain. From the bustling ports of Athens to the remote, rocky capes of the Peloponnese, his temples rose, often perched on dramatic headlands where the land met the sea. The most famous of these was the sanctuary of Poseidon at Saunion, its stark white marble columns a defiant beacon to sailors, the last sight of home and the first upon return. Here, and in countless other sanctuaries, the rituals unfolded. The air would be thick with the scent of burning pine and the salty tang of the sea. Priests in ceremonial robes would lead processions, their chants mingling with the crash of waves below. The most sacred of offerings were not gold or jewels, but living, breathing creatures. Bulls, particularly magnificent black bulls, were led to the altar. Their sacrifice was a profound transaction, a plea for safe passage, for calm seas, for the gods' favor. Before long voyages, sailors would pour libations of wine into the churning water, a desperate prayer to the moody sovereign of their trade routes. Fishermen would whisper his name with a mixture of reverence and fear, knowing a bountiful catch or a devastating storm rested on his whims. These rituals were not mere superstition. They were a vital negotiation with a force of nature personified. To honor Poseidon was to acknowledge humanity's fragile place in a world governed by powers far beyond its control, to seek a fragile truce with the tempest. One of the most enduring symbols of Poseidon's complex relationship with humanity is the legend of the city of Athens. In the mythic age, when the great city was yet unnamed, both Poseidon and the goddess Athena vied for its patronage, each offering a gift to its people. The assembly of citizens gathered on the Acropolis, the very heart of the city, to witness the divine contest. Poseidon, mighty and imposing, struck the bare rock of the Acropolis with his trident. The earth shuddered, and from the deep fracture a magnificent saltwater spring burst forth, roaring and foaming. It was a display of raw elemental power, a promise of naval dominance and control over the seas. The people gasped in awe. Then the serene Athena stepped forward. She knelt and planted a seed in the earth. From that seed grew the first olive tree, a source of wood, oil, and food. It was a gift of peace, sustenance, and civilization. The citizens, led by their wise king Cecrops, deliberated. While the spring was impressive, the water was as salty as the sea, undrinkable and of little practical use. The olive tree, however, promised wealth, light, and nourishment for generations. They chose the gift of Athena. In his fury at being rejected, Poseidon sent a catastrophic flood to punish the Attic plain. The legend encapsulates the eternal choice humanity faced: the tempestuous, unpredictable power of the sea god, or the ordered, civilizing intelligence of the patron of crafts. It was a choice between the wild and the cultivated, a story that resonated deeply in the Greek soul. But the most famous testament to Poseidon's wrath, a story that has echoed through millennia, is the tragedy of Atlantis. According to the philosopher Plato, Atlantis was a mighty island empire, a utopia of immense power and advanced civilization, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Its founder was none other than Poseidon himself. The god fell in love with a mortal woman named Cleito, and to protect her, he created a hill at the very center of the island, surrounding it with concentric rings of water and land. Here, he built a magnificent palace of gold, silver, and ivory, where the walls were lined with orichalcum, a mythical metal that gleamed with fire. From this union sprang a line of powerful kings, the Atlanteans, who ruled their vast domain with the blessing of their divine ancestor. For generations, they were a noble, virtuous people, living in harmony with the laws set down by Poseidon. But over time, their human nature corrupted their divine heritage. The virtue in their hearts diluted, replaced by avarice and ambition. They ceased to be content with their blessed isle and sought to conquer the known world, their armies marching against ancient Athens and Egypt. It was at this moment of ultimate hubris, when the Atlanteans had turned their backs on the ways of the gods, that Zeus and the divine council decided to punish them. And the instrument of their destruction was the very god who had founded their nation, Poseidon. The punishment was swift, absolute, and terrifying. To purge the world of this corrupted civilization, Poseidon called upon the full extent of his power. He did not merely send a storm, he unleashed the very foundations of the earth and sea. The ground, which he commanded as the Earth Shaker, convulsed in a series of violent, world-shattering earthquakes. The land of Atlantis heaved and cracked, its magnificent palaces and temples crumbling into dust. Then the sea, his primary domain, rose in a furious response. Colossal tsunamis, waves taller than mountains, descended upon the fractured island. The concentric rings of water, once a symbol of divine order and protection, became a death trap, funneling the oceanic fury inward. The sky was blotted out by ash and spray, and the roar of the collapsing world was deafening. In a single day and night of fire and flood, the entire island, with all its armies, its wealth, and its pride, was swallowed by the sea, vanishing beneath the waves forever. The legend of Atlantis serves as the ultimate parable of Poseidon's nature. He was a creator, a founder of dynasties, a god who could bestow unimaginable blessings. But he was also the ultimate destroyer, a force of divine retribution who would not hesitate to obliterate what he had created when it defied the natural and divine order. The sea, which gives passage, also takes it away. Beyond the grand myths of cities and contests, Poseidon's presence was felt in the intimate, personal stories of heroes and monsters. His volatile emotions shaped the destinies of many. He was a god capable of great favor and implacable hatred. When the hero Odysseus, on his long voyage home from the Trojan War, blinded the Cyclops Polyphemus, he made a grave error. The Cyclops was none other than a son of Poseidon. From that moment, the sea god became the primary antagonist of Odysseus's decade-long journey. Every storm that shattered his ships, every wind that blew him off course, every monstrous encounter was fueled by the personal, vengeful wrath of Poseidon. The god would watch from his chariot, drawn by golden-maned hippocamps, as the hero struggled against the elements, a grim satisfaction in his stormy eyes. Conversely, Poseidon could also be a patron. Theseus, the legendary hero of Athens, he was a divine father figure. In one story, to prove his divine lineage, Theseus dove to the bottom of the sea and was welcomed by the Nereids in Poseidon's palace, receiving a golden crown as a token of his paternity. This duality, the relentless persecutor and the proud patron, shows that for the ancient Greeks, the sea was not an impersonal force. It was a conscious, emotional entity, with loves and hatreds as deep and unpredictable as the ocean trenches. The domain of Poseidon was not a lonely monarchy. It was a teeming, vibrant court beneath the waves. His queen was the graceful Amphitrite, a Nereid or sea nymph, whom he won over after a protracted courtship, with a dolphin acting as a divine messenger. Together, they ruled from their magnificent palace in the deeps, said to be located near the island of Aegae. This was no dark, gloomy abyss, but a realm of stunning beauty, constructed from crystalline coral, iridescent pearl, and gold that never tarnished. The halls were lit by the gentle glow of bioluminescent creatures and great pearls that hung like chandeliers. Here, Poseidon held court with a host of marine deities and creatures. The Tritons, his heralds, blew on conch shells to calm or stir the waves. The Nereids, 50 daughters of the sea elder Nereus, danced in the currents. Dolphins, considered sacred to the god, performed acrobatic leaps. Even the fearsome sea monsters of myth, like the many-headed Scylla, were part of his vast and chaotic kingdom. This vibrant underwater society mirrored the Greek conception of the ocean, a world as complex and hierarchical as their own, filled with beauty, danger, and constant activity, all governed by the unpredictable will of its sovereign. Poseidon's influence extended its wet, salty fingers far beyond the coastline and into the very heart of the Greek world, the horse. He was also known as Poseidon Hippios, the god of horses. One myth tells of his contest with Athena for the patronage of Athens, where in some versions his gift was not a spring, but the first horse, a magnificent creature born from the crashing waves of the sea. The connection seems strange at first, the lord of the deep and a creature of the land. But to the Greek mind, the link was profound. The horse represented untamed power, speed, and a force that could shake the earth with its galloping hooves, much like an earthquake. The crashing of waves against the shore was often compared to the sound of 1,000 charging steeds. In Thessaly, a region famous for its horsemen, Poseidon was worshipped fervently. Chariot races were held in his honor at the Isthmian Games, a festival rivaling the Olympics. When a Greek hero tamed a wild horse, it was seen as an act of mastering a piece of Poseidon's own wild spirit. This aspect of his divinity completes the picture. He was not just the god of the sea, but the god of all raw, untamed, and chaotic forces that humanity sought to harness for its own use, whether sailing the waves or riding across the plains. The Romans, who absorbed so much of Greek culture, adopted Poseidon into their own pantheon, renaming him Neptune. While the core identity remained, the god of the sea, the Roman interpretation often softened his more tempestuous edges, presenting him as a more stable, regal figure, a personification of the Mediterranean that their empire now encircled. His image evolved through the Renaissance and into the modern era. He became a favorite subject for sculptors and painters, from the dramatic marble works of Bernini, which captured his dynamic power, to the romantic seascapes of J.M.W. Turner, where his presence is felt in the churning, luminous chaos of the waves. In the 20th and 21st centuries, Poseidon has been reborn in film, television, and literature. He appears in animated features as a jovial, bearded patriarch, and in epic Hollywood blockbusters as a wrathful, trident-wielding force of nature. Video games cast him as a final boss, a deity whose powers the player must overcome. Each reinterpretation reflects the era's relationship with the natural world. The ancients saw a conscious, mercurial deity in the storm. We see a powerful allegory for climate change, for the rising seas and intensifying storms that remind us of nature's ultimate supremacy. The myth persists because the sea itself persists, unchanged in its fundamental power over our lives and our imaginations. As our journey through the myths and legends of Poseidon draws to a close, we are left not with a simple definition, but with a profound sense of awe. Poseidon is not a single entity, but a constellation of ideas and forces. He is the life-giving freshwater spring and the deadly saltwater tsunami. He is the creator of the majestic horse and the destroyer of entire civilizations. He is the proud father and the vengeful persecutor. He is the calm, shimmering azure of a summer sea and the black, roiling fury of a winter tempest. To stand on the shore and look out upon the ocean is to feel his presence, to understand the ancient impulse that gave him form. The sea does not care for human plans. It operates on a scale of time and power that dwarfs our own. In the end, the enduring legacy of Poseidon is this timeless reminder of nature's dual capacity for breathtaking beauty and terrifying power. He is the myth that gives a name to the sublime and terrifying truth that we are, and always will be, at the mercy of the elements. The waves continue to crash upon the shore, whispering his name, an eternal testament to the God who rules the restless, unfathomable deep. Another legend fades, but the next awaits. Like this video, subscribe and continue the journey through myths.